Hey YouTubers, Bob Augusto here at Shoulda Coulda Woulda. We're going to put the bows on this one. I'm going to stick the carburetors on this bike and we'll have a bike ready for the summer. I filmed this pretty much in the middle of the flu. I had the flu when I was doing this. So probably not going to be one of my best work, but the labor was done. I'm not going to recreate it, so hopefully there's enough here to piece together. Check it out. So I got to keep my eye on this recording software because it keeps glitching on me. Okay, so the project on the motorcycle is done. It's got its rear wheel, its rear brakes, the whole suspension, everything has all been lubed up. New brake caliper, meaning parts bike, took the caliper off it, took it apart, cleaned it, resealed it, put it back, no longer sticking. The other caliper on the bike was sticking a little bit. So it led for kind of scariness around turns. Rebled the brakes. The whole front end of this bike has been done over. Same thing with the calipers. That's all squared away. Steering head bearings, those are all done. New races, new bearings, new seals. Front forks have been flushed and refilled, and the bike's been all put back together. Last thing I want to do to this before the summer comes, and this will be the last thing I need to do to this for the summer, is I'd like to resync the carburetors. It's all cleaned up. So what I want to do here is I got to get the bike up to operating temperature. Once it's at operating temperature, I'm going to take the tank off, and then we're going to hook up this device I bought for syncing carburetors. I've used it on my kid's bike. He only has a 2-cylinder, so we've only used 2 of them. But works out really well. Really nice device. It's the Motion Pro Sync Pro. I had some cheaper gauges, 4 gauges. I don't know if you've ever seen those. And we got a problem with one of them because I don't know if it was in shipping or whatever, but one of the needles sticks on it. Let's see if I can snap a picture and throw that up in the video as well. So it's March 12th, I think. Let me just double check that because I keep saying it and I'm not even 100% sure. It is March 10th. Okay, so it's March 10th. And if you look out the window, hold on. Yeah, we're still recording. That's good. We still recording audio? That's good. So it's March 10th, and that's what I see out there. It's cold. My sinuses are a disaster. You can tell my voice is a little raspy. I'm kind of battling something here. I don't know what it is. So I'm done. I'm done with the winter. I'm a 54-year-old guy, and I'll tell you, it's tiring. This bike will be done. My next projects will be to do my Honda Goldwing. I have a 2012 Honda Goldwing. I'm going to put tires and do a summer tune-up on it. And I get some plans for that. I plan on doing a cross-country ride with that. And do Zion National, basically the Grand Circle Tour I want to do with that. And I'm really looking forward to that. This bike here is sort of my unicorn. I could never afford it. A couple of friends I had this bike, always wanted one. Obviously, you pick them up, they're in pretty good shape. This one I picked up, it was basically a running basket case. It did run, but it needed a lot of work, but it was very promising. So I spent a little time on it over the summer, and I got it running to where I had a lot of fun on it. So after enjoying the bike as I did, I figured this could be something my son could grow into if he wanted to. It's 1,000 cc, so it's got everything you need. It'll run all day long. So I figured he would enjoy it. So I figured I'd fix it up, get it to a point where it's safe, it's inspectable, and it does everything it should as it should. And you know what? I've reached that point. So this is a solid bike. This is ready to go. No rips in the seats, nothing. It's just fantastic. All right, with that, I'm going to warm this bike up. I got to warm the inside of this garage up because my head is killing me. I can hear sleet hitting the window, so winter's not over here. So I'm going to get this thing started, warmed up, and we're going to start doing the syncing of the carbs. All right. The bike up to this point is at temperature. It's been running for about 20 minutes. I think we're at a point now where we're going to shut this down. I'm going to pull the tank off. The procedure for taking the tank off. That means the seat would come off, the tank would come off. Once that's finished, we're going to set the bike up underneath the rails that I have for the garage door, so I can hang all the the fuel canister and hang the synchrometers, and we'll get to hooking it up, and I'll start showing you how I sync the carburetors. Okay, so I've hooked up the temporary fuel supply. It's basically just a funnel that goes into the number 2 carburetor, where the fuel supply goes into. Here is carburetor 1 vacuum supply, carburetor 2 vacuum supply. And we come over here, this will be carburetor 4 vacuum supply, and carburetor 3, which is a little tough one to get to, vacuum supply. So what we need to do is we need to remove these vacuum caps and the vacuum line. That way there we can have the ports accessible for hooking up the synchrometer. So I'm going to take 1 and 2 off, and I'll have my son take off 3 and 4. There's my son taking 4 and digging his way into number 3. And then we can move on to the next phase. Okay. Okay, it's the Sync Pro. What we're going to need to do is take these protector caps that I have on the top off. This will be where the vacuum lines will be attached to. Each one of these lines has a restrictor in it. You need to make sure that you have the right side with the restrictor. And basically, you're just going to push these in here. Each one will be for each carburetor. Okay, now what this is here is this is a synchronizing manifold. I'm going to hook these 4 lines to the synchronizing manifold. And then we're going to take source off of carburetor 2 on the motorcycle. Once that's hooked up and the motor is running on source, we're going to sync the 4 gauges to be identical. That way there, when they're on the bike, they'll be expected to draw the same vacuum on each side. So they'll show where the vacuum deficiencies are. So here we're just going to load it up with fuel. Now this process right here is what I'm doing here is I am turning all these screws all the way out. That's going to make them as less resistant to vacuum as possible. So that basically stiffens up the gauge. So I'm going to take this, I'm going to stick it on to carburetor 2. If you've noticed here, I put the vacuum caps on. Those need to come off only when we do the synchronizing of the four. When you do the synchronizing of the gauge, you need to have them on so you can run it off a carburetor too, which is what we're doing here. So we start the bike up and we check across all four gauges. And we see the weakest one and we bring it up to the highest one. So number 3 here is a little low. Bring it up. That's pretty much it. Tweak up number 1 here. We're good. So I'm actually directing my son here to take a step back because these gauges are actually easier to see from a distance. This camera's not doing it justice, but they are quite fluid. They're blue liquid, so you'd be able to see them quite well. So now that we have this all synchronized out, we're going to pull the manifold off. We're going to pull the vacuum caps off. What I'm explaining to my son here is how to identify the master carburetor. On a 4-cylinder bike, it's typically the carburetor that adjusts the idle. That's considered to be the master carburetor. Another way you can tell is on these bikes of this vintage, the petcocks on the gas tanks are usually turned on or opened under vacuum. That's usually driven off the master carburetor as well. So if you're not sure by how you would adjust the idle, if there's too much stuff under there, you would be able to go out and look for the where the vacuum line's attached. So when you synchronize these carburetors, it's 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. You would first synchronize the first 2 carburetors together, 1 and 2. Then carburetor 3 and 4 you would synchronize to themselves. After that, what you want to do is you want to synchronize carburetors 1 and 2, 2, 3 and 4. So it's 1 and 2, 3 and 4, and 1 and 2 to 3 and 4. In between each carburetor, there's a set screw. And you adjust that set screw by turning one carburetor up in relationship to the other carburetor. So by playing with those 3 settings, and looking at the synchrometer, you'll be able to tell and judge and adjust so all the vacuum draw is the same on all 4 carburetors. Make sense? Mm-hmm. That's how that's done. So we're going to...
Was it bad that I pull the vacuum plugs then?
say again?
Did I not want to pull them all?
I do not want to...
Pull the plugs.
You got to pull the plugs. Now we got to hook them up. So we've done the calibration, so whatever vacuum is being drawn, they're identical across the grid. That's what this does. That's what this process does. Now we take this off, because one vacuum source has equalized all 4 by adjusting that. So it's calibrated. So we don't need that anymore. We're going to take this, and just put it away. Done. Process is finished. Number 1. Well, we'll do number 2 first, because you got to reach in there. I like to do the inside ones first. So I'm going to wet it.
You plug them all in right now?
Yeah. So what we're going to do here is I'm going to put that equalizing manifold away, and we're now going to hook up each bar in relation to its respective carburetor. So the one all the way to the right will be number 4, next one down will be number 3, next one next to that will be number 2 and number 1 and so forth. So each carburetor will now be associated to one of those bars in the gauge. That way there, when we fire the motor up, we'll be able to see each vacuum in each carburetor. So if you look at this, number 4 is way up there. 2 and 3 look pretty good. 1 and 2, number 1 is way down. So my son's going to help me out here. Cut the heat off. My son's going to help me out here. He's going to view that. He's going to tell me what I need to do. So the way I want to do this is I want to sync 1 and 2. Then I want to sync 3 and 4. And then I want to sync 1 and 2 to 3 and 4. I'll tell you right now, because it's off that much, it's going to be quite significant. All right, so let's see what direction I need to go in. So keep an eye on that. Right there? Yeah, that looks pretty good. Yeah, I'd say that's really good. Okay, let's try. Let's do the end one. Right? They're actually all in sync now, right? Number 4, do you think 4 is still higher? 4 is lower, so I got to come up with 4? So 3 and 4 are lower than 1 and 2? So 3 and 4 are higher than 1 and 2. So that one's a little harder to find. And that one is sensitive. What do you think? Looking at that, what do you think needs to be done? 3 looks high. So now 3 and 4 look high, right? So we need to lower 3 and 4. All right, what do you got? I want to call that done. That looks good. What do you think? Your opinion? That is way more sync than it was. Okay, so that's how you do it. And it's now one sync bike. The fan's kicking on and off, which means it's at off temp. So
So, that's a result. Better gas mileage now, more throttle response, more low-end torque. That's what we just did to this bike. It's good. It's good. Done. Well, thanks for watching the video, guys. I think I did okay considering I was raging with the flu. Still haven't got over it yet. If you like what you see, and if you want to see any more upcoming projects, my next one is going to be my GL1800. And I'm going to be talking more about motorcycle riding. The weather's changing. Right now I got a thunderstorm going on outside, so that's pretty interesting. Hit the subscribe button and hit the bell. And when I post new content up here, I'm going to try to post as much as I can. As the weather gets better, there should be more and more to post. I appreciate you guys watching. Thank you.